Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Breaking the Cycle, Finding Financial Freedom. Today we have a very special guest. Beardy, would you like to go ahead and introduce our guest, sir?
I would. The boys underestimated me. They didn't know I got a little around here. And they were so in awe of the guy. I said, listen, guys. Rob puts his man diaper on one leg at a time like the rest of it. Right? But we do have a sponsor for today's show, and that is Humor. We are sponsored by Humor.
Awesome.
I put my man diaper on one strap at a time. Because you don't have to put legs in if you just open it up first. And you put it in there, have a great night, go out drinking, never have to step away from the bar. Pro tip, kids. All right. So, gents, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank you for coming on.
Thanks for coming on.
Seriously, I found our next guest rummaging around the parking lot. He was looking for spare EOS and man diapers. And the truth is, we're just using him as a bargaining chip to get on the dev. That's the ultimate
dev. Yeah,
that's the ultimate whale we're trying to slay. But his agent said he wasn't available and he needed all red M&Ms. In true Beardy fashion, I just had to roast him a little bit before bringing you on. So the name of the show is BTC, Breaking the Cycle. So about 3 years ago, I was burned out. I was trapped in a system. I felt like I couldn't win. I was just angry at the world, angry, bitter person. As fate would have it, my 70-year-old good old boy, father-in-law from Wisconsin, he had a healthy distrust from the system. He served in Vietnam, and he put his money in something called Ethereum. And from there, I went down a rabbit hole like you wouldn't believe. But quickly, I saw the sinful nature and then all the human greed. But having morals, I needed to find some people with integrity that I knew what they're talking about. And so first, I found obviously BitBoy. First I found. It was Invest Answers led me to Rob, and then Rob and Ken Stanfield, and then Ben Cowan, and the guy from CoinVero. So that's kind of like what meshed me all together. And I started, went down like, holy shit, I might be able to get out of this this rat race. So I just want to share a few things. What I loved about Rob was his sense of humor. He's always engaging with trolls. He gives them a run for their money, even today. He has common sense. He's the only one who said it was okay to take profits in the 21 bull market.
Mm-hmm. He was the one who encouraged everyone.
And everybody else said it was going to the moon. Then I learned he used to be an ICU nurse, and I'm a registered nurse myself. And then I relate to his military background, kind of a one-scale approach, although he was 1 minute late today. True. But you can just tell the guy's humble. And if he would give bottom feeders like us some time, to root for the underdogs. I mean, I'm always rooting for the underdogs. He's always rooting for the underdogs. So with that, I just want to throw it to Joe, who's kind of like our mini mob, mini Rob, and then Grinder, and go around the table. Welcome to the show.
Well,
thank you, Beardy.
Yeah, thanks, Beardy. Good job, buddy. And on a personal note, Rob actually was the one who encouraged me to start my business and gave me some advice and stuff like that. So, and actually for my YouTube channel as well. So this is actually a direct result of Rob, is me talking to him and him saying, "Just do it. What are you waiting for? Just do it. That's all you got to do." I was like, "Well," he's like, "That's how I did it. I just started." And I'm like, oh, "Okay then." But yeah. So, thank you so much for coming on, Rob. So the first question we have is, you've helped so many people get through this bear market, and you've helped so many people have their like, "Oh, I get it" moment, right? Who is that person who did that for you though? And how did you get through your first bear market?
So, it's a funny thing. Like to get through your first bear market, it's difficult, because when you first get in, usually we all got in when everything was going off to the moon. And we're like, well, this is awesome. And who do you see when you go on social media? It's always the people like, you know what? Bitcoin's going to 1 million. You know what? Ethereum's going to 100,000. And you know what? Ethereum's going to flip Bitcoin. And you know what? All these different projects that are out there, they're all going to go and they're going to go up forever. And it's the new thing. You start to kind of fall into it. That was me in 2017. And as time went on, especially after the futures ETF came out from the CBOE on December 15th, went live on December 17th, and everything dropped down to the floor. And in January 2018, we were down, I don't know, 65%. I realized that maybe things won't go up forever. So you know who helped me understand that was my wife. She came to me and she goes, because we've done a lot of things together, and we've put together a couple businesses, real estates, different things online. And she's like, well, it's just like any other business. Things are going to fail. They're going to go down. But as time goes on, if you stick with it, usually things work out. And I was like, you know what? You are right. And she was the one that actually gave me the book, The Intelligent Investor. And she goes, I saw this on Amazon, thought you might want to read it. And I go, that's very nice. That's why I love my wife. And I took a look at that and I go, son of a bitch, this is going to be just like everything else that's been out there. Nothing goes up forever. Nothing is miraculous. And even if the narrative is so great, like we see with Bitcoin and any kind of crypto project that you can think of, the timing just isn't right for maturation. So if I just hunker down and stick around, I'll be okay. So I told my wife, I go, look, here's what I'm going to do. We have two options here. I can take this, at that point, 90% loss, and we can roll it into something else. Or I can stick around and I can actually put more money into it and do this thing called dollar cost averaging and just wait around. Because I think just like everything else we've done, it's going to come back. And she's like, well, sounds good. And then, of course, as time went on, I realized that not everything does come back, right? And I give my example of like a dash of salt. And you guys all know this because you listen to my channel constantly. So this is probably super boring for you. But
no.
it is the same thing over and over again. So that's what got me through it. And then as time went on, the biggest challenge, and a challenge that I still have, is taking profits. And I think that is the one, like we're all here. We can all do the same thing. Like, Beardy, Grind, Joe. I mean, you guys can buy dips all day long, can't you? It's super simple. You're like, oh, the market's slow, I'll just buy. But then when it goes up, then all of a sudden that I want to hold on to it and that greed takes over. And it's I think the intelligent investor is the one that realizes themselves, I need to take some profits or I'm going to be here holding bags like I've done before in 2017 and in 2021 and in 2025 or 24, you're going to say the same thing. So it's imperative that we learn that last step to take those profits, like I've always been harping on everybody to do. So that was it.
100%. Yeah.
Behind every good man is a good woman. I can relate to that. With all the, I went down the rabbit hole, did hours of research, thought I was wasting my time. And then finally, 2022, let's be honest, it was just brutal for everybody. And then I got down and I think got to 15 and I bought in at like between 30 and 40. And I just felt like such a schmuck. And then she's like, well, do you believe it? Do you believe in it? And I'm like, yeah, it's for real. She's like, well, then let's buy more. And then she let me roll her 403B over into IRA, and the rest is history.
See, that's it. Like, and that's just, I think that's the big thing behind a lot of investors. It's not just, it's either the woman behind you, the man behind you, or the people you surround yourself with. And if you don't do it right, if you don't have those people, like, I'm sure the people watching this video, there's someone out there that is laughing at you going, I cannot believe you still believe in crypto when it just went down 80, 90%. You're a moron. And then you're like, maybe I'm a moron. And then if you have so many of those people, it just gets into you and it's hard to recover for you to say, you know what, F you, I know what I'm doing. It's imperative to have good people around, even if those people are on YouTube. So
right. Exactly.
Sorry, ladies. I'm taking Grinder's taking Rob. We can't even get Joe a date. Can you get a date?
You know what? It's going to be much simpler maybe when Joe makes some wife changing money or a girlfriend changing money when all that when all the stuff comes in.
That's the eventual goal. Actually, Rob talking about taking profits is funny because like I know exactly what he meant when he was saying like because he was always harping on it. You got to take profits when you can, like he always talks about planting the seeds and then picking them later. It's the crops. And that's what I did in my Tesla stock. I was looking at it. I'm like, I bought a bunch of it when it was really down low. I'm in a profit a lot right now. Like this can pay for all the startup costs for my business. Like, and I was like, I got to take the profits. And I was sitting there and I was looking, I'm like, oh, this hurts to do. And I finally hit the button and I saw it was sold. I'm like, like it hurts the first time you do it, you're like, because I know it's going to be worth so much more later, but like it's the right thing to do for right now so I can make more money and plant more seeds to get down the road, like, and so thank you for teaching that lesson to a lot of us, like it's been very helpful. So,
well, you know what? Well, Joe, you know who taught me that lesson? It was Baron Rothschild. And he said and we all know, I believe we all know the quote, which is, he said, I made all my money by selling too soon and never buying the absolute bottom.
Yeah.
Which is essentially, that's pretty much it. I think the problem is people are so convinced they can time the market to the exact top or the near top. And I'm like, there's no way you're going to do it. And if somebody gets it right once, congratulations. I just don't see you doing that 2, 3, 4, 10 times. It's just, I don't see it, but maybe somebody else is. Well, I know I can guarantee somebody way smarter than me. I can guarantee that.
Only I can do that, Rob.
Exactly. Beardy can only do that. Only Beardy can do that and find some type of wacky sombrero hat on sale. For this.
Me and the dev.
Don't forget his bolo tie. He got the bolo tie he's going to wear to Bitcoin conference in Nashville next year.
Now that sounds good. That's good advice. I hope the dev does show up. Have you guys seen the dev?
He's in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen some. I watched some of his videos earlier when Beardy was talking about him.
Oh, that guy's on another level. I mean, can you imagine having beers with him?
I want.
It would be wild. It would be wild. The stories he would probably tell you about his younger days would be.
Oh yeah.
Like make you feel like you were less of a man for not living the same life he has with all the crazy stuff.
I don't care about his not even his former life, just his life now. The videos are hilarious, and I even saw one there was one he did with CZ Binance, and it was and CZ was like, he's like, it's okay, Dev, you can do it. And he's like, I know I can do it, and then he goes on to do some other rant. I'm like, there's only one guy like that. It's amazing.
It's just it is what it is. It's him. Yeah.
He's like the unicorn. We're after him, but we can't catch him.
Right. So moving on to our next question. We know you like to, we were speaking about assets. We know you like to diversify assets, but if you could only hold 4 categories, what would they be? Assuming cash isn't one of them, right? So you can have cash plus 4 other. For example, like crypto, real estate, your small business, and hard assets. Some combination, something like that.
I mean, assets themselves. Like I never understood this with Michael Saylor, and he talked about this. He talks about it at length about how great Bitcoin is and how like if you compare Bitcoin to real estate, and I understand the arguments because you can't really just like pick up real estate and move it anywhere else and over time. But in all honesty, like when I take a look at real estate, I look at like what appreciates in value over time. Even Michael Saylor would talk about his house that was, I mean, it was like an old house and built in like the 1920s. He said over the last 100 years, it's appreciated from whatever it is to like over $10 million. And I'm like, just there alone is a great store of value for real estate. And me, like I look at real estate and I see like there's so many benefits of it, not just because of that, but you can take it for the depreciation factor, whether that be 20 or 30 years, whatever the laws are now. I always forget, always change them, it seems like. But over 20 years, your house depreciates. You can take that depreciating value, put it on your taxes to offset some of your gains, and you can have it there. Then on top of that, you can use that as either the house, if you want to do a fix-up, if you want to use long-term rental, or what we do, short-term rentals, it's a great recurring revenue. And then what's even better than that is as time goes on, you can give it to your kids, your grandkids like I have, and then just kind of go from there. So like when I take a look at it, I mean, Bitcoin is a great one to have, right? And crypto, whatever your project is. I don't think we're going to have 10,000 plus cryptos in the next, 20 years. I think most are going to go away. So I would say that Bitcoin's a good one. Ethereum, I don't even know. Maybe. I mean, everything's built on it. Of course, people who love Ethereum are like, this guy's a moron, but whatever. So Bitcoin for sure, I think it's a pretty good bet, especially with all the institutions coming in. We just saw BlackRock and Fidelity and ARK and da-da-da. And then I know people aren't going to like this. So we've got Bitcoin, or crypto, we got real estate, and then your business itself. Because nothing can really outstrip the gains when you put it into your business. The problem with businesses themselves, the small businesses, over a statistic, over 5 years, you're going to see it's 60% fail rate or something like that. So you have a pretty high fail rate for small businesses, longevity of 5 or 10 years. However, the gains that you get are pretty darn good, and you're working for yourself as opposing to like what me and Beardy used to do, is go work for somebody else, 12-hour shifts, work overtime, and then hopefully you get that pay. And
wiping butts, Rob. Wiping butts.
Well, wiping butts, saving people's lives.
Beardy, you pay extra to do that normally, though.
Yeah.
And then I'll say like the fourth asset that I would say, it'll be a toss up between I don't really get into stocks that much, but if I could say that precious metals, gold and silver, probably a pretty good stat. And then the last thing I'll say about this is I never understood why the gold and silver bugs were such, I guess the word hater, just hate towards crypto, because we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to get out of the matrix that is traditional finance and the never-ending supply of quantitative easing that's coming out. So I never understood that. So yeah, gold, silver, real estate, crypto, and your small business. If you don't want to do your own business because you're like, I don't want to work for myself as hard, maybe stocks would be your option.
So I actually brought out I actually have some silver and gold, right? Not a lot, but I have some. So I brought it out for this because I figured you were going to say that. I was talking to my uncle about this the other day, and it's so much easier for me to move this than it is for me to move a whole bunch of these and trying to store them, right? I can smuggle this out really easy if something goes bad, but carrying, 20 of these is going to be heavy and difficult, right? So I was trying to explain it to my uncle the other day, who is not into crypto at all. I think it's all a scam and it's junk.
Sure.
And so I actually sent him a few videos, including one of yours, about, stuff like this. And he was like, I have to look into this a little bit more, it seemed, because he is a hardcore, precious metal guy. So it seems like some of them are starting to maybe come around to it, but I don't know if, I hope that they do, because we're all, like you said, we're all trying to do the exact same thing. So
you can
What's that, Grind?
You can store it in your prison wallet, Joe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, moving the ledger.
Not all of those coins, but maybe some of those coins.
I would say the ledger I could probably keister, but all the whole second silver coins is gonna make me feel a little jangly. I'm gonna be like that the crocodile from Peter Pan with swallowed the clock. Everyone's becoming jingling.
Yeah. Well, so I'll take a stab at the theory on my theory on why the gold bugs and silver bugs weren't enthusiastic about crypto, at least at the beginning, would be from my psychological background. I think their cognitive dissonance on that is because it's not tangible. There's not an actual physical thing that they can touch and that they see as having utility. I think that's probably the biggest hurdle for them to kind of jump over. So you have to separate the tangible asset and from the digital side of things, and say look at how it has all the same properties. Don't get hung up on the fact that you can't just physically see it, and recognize that it has all the same properties, and that those properties are easier to utilize in this space. And if you have them sit down and you talk to them about it and you explain it in that way, and you get them to understand the language that we're using in this space, if you can get them over that hurdle, that's when they start changing their mind. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, it's tough because when you come from that background of I have to physically see it to know that it's real. Bitcoin makes absolutely no sense. So I can understand where they're coming from, because they're and then it was the same, it was the same realization that I think Warren Buffett came about when he talked about Google. And he said, look, he goes, I can't see it. I can use it somewhat, but where's the value in here? You can have 1,000 other Googles. I mean, there's Yahoo, there's Ask Jeeves, and now I'm showing my age, and of course you can see all these different platforms and browsers. Like, and he's like, that makes no sense. And then later on, of course, invests into Google because he understands the value behind of what's happening when, before he didn't. So I think it's the same thing with Bitcoin and what it is. And all people have to really think about is if you're going to think about money, I mean, what is money? It's a store of value, and it's a method of exchange. So I can use, and just like you said, Joe, I can't move this silver around. Like, it's very hard for you to say, I want to buy that, whatever, that Maserati, that's Jaguar, and I have all these silver coins, and I want to do it right now. Well, okay, now I have to go down to whatever shop it is, or however you would transfer that into, and say, give me the funds for that. Okay, now put it in my bank. Now it's going to go over there. So as far as like a method of exchange, this is really difficult to use. It can be done, but I mean, Bitcoin it's much easier. And then as far as like a store of value, people will say, well, how can you say that? Because I mean, look at the value of it going down. And of course, if you look at it from day to day, gotcha. You have a great point. But you take a look at it and zoom out over the last 12, 13 years, what could $20 buy you 12 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago? What can $20 buy you right now? Take that with Bitcoin. What is it? Over time, I think it does fit those two criteria. Store value and method exchange.
You share that video where it's like the picture of the shopping cart, and it's like what $20 would have bought you, like years ago in groceries, or $100, and then what $20 worth of Bitcoin would have bought you now. And like, the last bull cycle, it was like a Tesla or something like that. So
it was pretty good. I mean, and that's just, I think that will be par for the course. And the big question is, what's it going to do the next cycle? And I have no idea for that. I can give you some great price predictions. It's going to be between $5 and 500,000. I know that for a fact. That'll be my price prediction.
I'll take it to the bank.
Yeah. Wasn't it Do Kwon who was trying to keister his ledger in the back door there?
I think it was. I mean, wouldn't you though? Because I mean, who knows how long that guy's going to go to jail? Hey, that's another thing. How is Do Kwon going to jail and SBF is just walking around free as a bird?
Do Kwon's not even going to jail for anything bad. Do Kwon's going to jail for like 6 months for a passport thing. It's nothing to do with crashing Terra Luna. It's nothing with losing people billions of dollars and costing people their life savings and ruining their lives and causing them to, self-harm. It's none of that. It's the faulty paperwork.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Mashinsky bet you got going on.
Oh, the Mashinsky bet. It's not looking too good for me. I'll tell you that right now. So the bet is with Simon Dixon. I bet. So I've had Simon on my show many a time. You don't know Simon, for those watching the video. He was an early Bitcoin investor, and I think he bought it at $3.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Then he invested in the small companies like Coinbase and Kraken. Got into the Ethereum ICO. Yeah, he got in the Ethereum ICO. Hasn't touched it yet, so doing pretty good. Actually, he was just on Coin Bureau, and he said something I forgot about. He said that his company, Bank to the Future, they got licensure for a broker-dealer license, and they sold that to Coinbase. That's why Coinbase has that broker-dealer license. So Simon has been around this game in traditional finance even before then. So the bet is I believe that the Bitcoin ETF is not going to go through. And I'll say why in a bit. But Simon is convinced it is, and I think 99% of the people are convinced it is. So the bet is if I lose, I have to wear an I Heart Mashinsky shirt. I already have it picked out. I already got it sized. I also sized it for Simon just to be sure.
Do they actually have shirts like that on the internet, or did you have to custom make it?
Oh no, you got to custom make that.
Okay, thank God. I thought you meant Chrissy had one on her website, and she would, she had made
extra medium for Rob.
Extra. I wear a boys XL. So that was the bet, and so I still don't believe it's going to happen. And I believe it's not going to happen because, there's 3 reasons. One, obviously, because it hasn't happened yet. Every time we get our hopes up, they dash them. Yep. Second reason is, and this was a little bit of a stretch, is that Coinbase, even though there's a separate entity for Coinbase custody, and of course Coinbase, the crypto exchange, the SEC is suing Coinbase because of the fact that they were selling unregistered securities and they named them all. So I think there's kind of like that bad taste. And people are like, but Rob, you don't understand because, Coinbase custody is totally different and that's what all they have to go through. True. But there is a little connection, and that's one of the things. But the third thing, and I think it's the biggest factor, is there was a report put out by the Biden administration, the White House report, and they talked about negatively, not just Ethereum and Solana and all the different cryptos that are out there, but Bitcoin in specifically, especially with I'm going to say the term, and don't hate me, but the ESG compliance issue with the electricity, which Elizabeth Warren's going crazy about. They do not want crypto to happen. So the question then becomes, who does Gary really work for? Does he work for BlackRock, which everybody thinks he does, and everybody believes that BlackRock is the SEC? Does he work for the Biden administration, or does Gary work for Gary? And we're going to find out pretty soon, up to the Q1 of 2024. So if I'm wrong, I'll be honest with you guys, I'll happily wear that stupid shirt because that means we're going to have some major price appreciation, but I still don't think it's going to happen. And we'll see.
Did you have you seen the tweet from Metal Lawn Man about the SEC case versus Coinbase?
No. What do they say now?
So I can just present it real quick. Basically, he submitted a letter. Basically, they're saying that they want to move it towards motion judgment. So they want just
to get it dismissed, right?
Yeah. So the SEC will not object to the Coinbase moving forward in this motion. It is important. While the SEC will oppose the motion, it will not try to delay the consideration of these issues raised by Coinbase. This means there's at least some hope for a prompt resolution. The SEC's letter previews its arguments made against Coinbase. The arguments are not particularly strong. The SEC suggests that library case somehow helps them, even though the judge did not hold that the tokens traded on the secondary market are securities. So he goes through that whole thing, but there is at least some kind of hope on that. At least I don't know if that changes you or if you've seen that one way or another. So
I had seen that, doesn't change it. And the reason why is because like this, the SEC's argument is particularly weak in this situation. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I can only look through my biased eyes and take a look at that. The same thing with the Ripple case. And you can just see and even Larry Fink talked about it on Squawk Box. He said, if we had a futures ETF got approved in multiple occasions, which there's oversight there, then what is the difference between the futures ETF and a spot Bitcoin ETF? There really is not much of a difference, especially if we can, kind of have a little bit of regulatory oversight and have the people that can watch over it. He goes, which we already have. He said, so I don't understand the situation here, why there's such a disconnect and why they don't approve. Of course, there's a reason for it. And I think the reason is, like I just talked about, White House, Biden administration don't want it. They want Fed now and maybe a CBDC to come through. And let's be honest, Bitcoin is quite not the greatest thing to allow that to happen.
Yeah. That is true. Yeah, I definitely understand your reservations, Rob. And maybe it does take a different administration to be able to push it through. Maybe it gets rejected this time, and then if we get a Republican administration in next, maybe it changes at that time.
I don't know if Biden's going to even run again, but I don't see him winning the next. Well, I guess it depends on who comes in, but I got to tell you, any administration I think would be better than the Biden administration as far as one that looks favorable on cryptos and digital assets. Because let's be honest, Biden he's really bad. And let's be honest too, Trump wasn't the best either. No, Trump even said, he goes, I am a fan of the US dollar. I don't want anything to compete with the US dollar. And then of course people will say, but Rob, you understand because now he has these NFTs. I'm like, he doesn't care about crypto NFTs. He just want to make some money off the NFTs, just like most of the NFT creators do. So for me, I'm just like, whoever the third person is, I will say, correct me if I'm wrong, I think more of the Republican side is more positive to crypto and the more Democratic side is negative towards crypto.
Yeah. I saw that someone had done an article and they had said something to that effect that I think it was actually Coin Bureau, and he said that when he was talking about CBDCs, especially, the Democrats were more in favor of them, and that they were less favorable on crypto. I think is what he had said. Well, I could be wrong on that. So
Just look. I mean, you've got Ted Cruz from Texas. You've got Warren Davidson. You've got Tom Emmerer, and you
Majority Whip.
Yeah, the majority whip is on the side of us and hates. God, Lord, he hates Gary Gensler.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
And of course we got Cynthia Lummis from Wyoming, senator. So you've got pretty big people out there.
What about Patrick
McHenry?
McHenry, yeah, he's the finance guy for the Senate. I think he's pro crypto as well.
Yeah, see, I think there's more people like that. And I don't know who the Democrats have as far as I know there are some, because Lummis co-wrote a bill, I believe, with and reached across the aisle for a Democratic.
Was it Gillibrand?
Oh, it might have been. Yeah, Gillibrand. That's right. So you have at least that part, but the parts that I see, and I haven't really looked super hard at it, but I mean the only thing that I see is you've got Pocahontas, who's coming out there and saying, "Hey," and I can say Pocahontas if anybody has a problem, because I am Native American myself. I'm Native American and German, so I can say it with pride. Yeah, exactly. So that's how I see for the majority, and then of course, but I thought Gary was a Republican, but whatever.
I wish I could.
No, he's not, because he helped. He ran Hillary Clinton's campaign finance. He was her campaign finance manager.
Ah, good. Interesting.
Yeah, and that's kind of interesting how he did the Democrats a favor on that and then ended up in a position of power with a Democratic administration. It's kind of weird, right?
Well, no one gets in that situation without doing a couple favors. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. Definitely.
I wish I could have brought you boys with me to Wisconsin. Have you guys ever been to a truck and tractor pull?
Yes.
So this is the good old boys and girls, and this black smoke gets so loud and it just roars over your face, and then
and the food, Beardy, and the beer.
And the food, and then I cracked a joke, and I didn't think anybody could hear. And when all the black smoke was going on, I was going, is this ESG friendly?
Nobody's going to get that joke there. They're like, what?
No, some old boy laughed. He's like, that's funny. But I didn't want to get the pitchforks going.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably a good idea. Get stampeded by some lady wearing cowboy boots. Wouldn't go so well for you. So for our next question, Rob, we have for you is what made you want to start streaming, and what advice do you have to smaller streamers like us and any of small streamers who are thinking, or people who want to get into streaming to build in the bear market, to build their channel in the bear market?
It just comes down to, like, for me, I was bored. Honestly, that's what it comes down to, because I was an intake coordinator for a home health company. And then before that, I was a medical device sales for KCI. It's a wound vac company. That was over a decade ago. And then we always dabbled into real estate, and that was kind of taking off. And then I did an online education platform to help medics pass their clinical exams. And then I got into Amazon, and then we did a sports facility. And like, it just kind of, and then as time goes on, you just kind of you don't need to do as much because you hire people to do that for you. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you have to do oversight and make sure that things are on the up and up. But then at one point, like, my friends are like, dude, I want to hear about Bitcoin. I don't. I'm like, but it's really good. You should invest into it. Like, you should talk to somebody else about it. I was like, okay. So I just got bored, and I said, start a YouTube channel. Seemed like everybody else is doing one, and I think I can do a decent job. And I just did it that way. So that's why I did it, mostly out of boredom. And now it's connected me with a lot of like-minded people. And it's great to be around people that think like you.
Yeah.
And kind of have the same vision as you, because then you kind of just go, oh, I'm not crazy. And there's things that could really do well. So that's why. And then for new people coming in, it goes like this. The people that are streaming and doing videos right now, they may have a huge following and they may get a lot of different subscribers. But over time, I don't think they're going to be around forever. Just like me. Like, even like, I've done this now. I started in November 2019. So we're looking at over 3 years, and I'll probably do it I'll be in crypto forever, but I don't know if I'll have a YouTube channel forever. So at some point I'm going to step down, And I can tell you right now with 100% assurance, in the next bull run, when I start to sell, I did a video on when I'm going to do it, how I'm going to do it. Once I do that, I'm stepping down from the channel and saying, that's why I sold. And I'll still have 20% left. I'll see you guys in the bear market. And it allows people to not, keep following me and me getting a little bit crazy going, well, maybe I should hold on. I sold, I'm gone. And it kind of reminds people that maybe that's something to do. Maybe you take some profits. So for you guys, just know that the people that are up high now are going to be here forever. And the next thing I could say is just be consistent. Give yourselves a full year. If you don't get any traction, then maybe it's not for you. That's a full year's time, I think, is a pretty good amount of time. If you get like 100 subscribers, you're like, man, maybe I'm not doing so hot. But if you're getting like 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, I think maybe you're onto something. You're just going to take a little more time. So just stick around and be consistent.
Yeah, keep up the grind.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Rob, pass us the torch.
Yes, exactly. Just pass the torch, and you guys can take over for me.
Yeah, we'll be. I'll dye my beard white, and be like, my name is Rob.
Oh well, just wait around. That's when you go through your second bear market. That's what happens. Look at me. I'm only 23 years old. I mean, it's just.
I'm a nurse, and I'm only 21. I feel
Exactly, Beardy. Exactly.
Yeah. Nice. Right on. So, and then next question we had for you are: if you have the top 5 streamers, who would you say they are, and who do you watch every day? Like for you personally.
That's so. If Guy's going to put a video out, I'm going to watch him because I know his team and they put out high quality stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If Ben's going to put some stuff out, unless he's talking about Bitcoin dominance, I'll probably watch it because it's interesting to know what he's talking about, especially with the website. I'll catch James from Invest Answers because he's got some pretty good quantitative analysis. I'll check on Cryptos R Us because sometimes he's got some information that I don't even have, and he kind of puts me up as far as like the news goes. And then there's a bunch of other ones that it just depends on the people. I'll take a look at Tom Crown just to see what he's doing as far as like his crazy trades. I'll take a look at Crypto Capital Venture to see what's going on with Cardano and the whole ecosystem that is. And gosh, I think there's a bunch of others. I just can't think of them right now. But it just depends on like who's got the information that's coming out. So usually something like that.
We're trying to reel in Tom Crown for a chart off against Grindr because they like to pick.
Wow. It's actually going to be Beardy wearing that hat, and then if you can see that one right there, it's my Jameson hat that I stole from someone in San Francisco, running down the street without my shirt on. That's a long story. We won't go into that, but I stole that from someone. So I will be wearing that, and then we'll be doing WWE style announcing and hoping that we can bang some chairs around and be like, off the top rope.
Oh, that's funny. That's good stuff.
I do have to make an apology. Benjamin Cowan, I do love him. I was sometime a little trolly. They put me in a little timeout on the one of the moderators. I made fun of Barrett Soloway's man bun, and I got a 300. I paid my 300-second timeout, and now I'm refined.
All right.
Well, there you go.
Perfect.
I guess you shouldn't be mean to people so much, or just be smarter about it. Have an alt account so you can.
I wasn't. I liked the man bun. I liked it.
Oh yeah, sounds great. Man buns.
Yeah,
good deal.
Yeah, man buns. Anyways, so I know you've got some stuff to do today. So our kind of final thoughts and the outlook for the next 6 to 18 months. What do you think is going to be going on, Rob?
If you would have talked to me 6 months ago, I would have said, just watch out for 2025 because that's going to be the big year. That's what I think it is. But then, like lately, if you take a look at, like, not only Plan B, but like Bob Lucas and a couple other people, they're starting to look at these different signals and these different indicators that maybe 2024 could be a pretty big year. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a blow off top, but I think that it could be a little bit shorter. So even though we all think that 2025 is the year, what if it's not? Because how many of us went into the last cycle and said, Bitcoin is probably going to be over 100K. It's ridiculous
Yeah.
to think that 69 is the top. That's stupid. And it's ridiculous to think that Ethereum couldn't even hit 5,000. It's got to at least hit 5,000, maybe 6, 9, and it didn't. And like
Yep.
right now, we're cruising to this halving in April 2024. We know that's going to happen because it always happens every 4 years. But the question is, when is the next big blow off top? And I think people have to be aware that it could be 2024, it could be 2025. And that's why it's imperative that they follow channels like this and follow different channels that have good indicators that kind of will tell you like, hey, we're getting way overheated here. This might be something to look at as potentially to take profits, not financial advice. But, if you're looking for more research, this would be a starting point and go from there.
Yeah, and I was definitely guilty of that. I thought I had my first sell orders set for 70K. So that kind of stung a little bit when it. I was trying to do the take the profits. Rob, I shouted you out in one of our other videos. You were the only follower or influencer that we were following at that time that said take profits, and you took some at 60, and you got some criticism for that. But hey, look, hindsight's 2020. You got some good. Gains there that like you said, you rotated them into your business, correct?
Yes, and it was the business and it was real estate, and it worked out fine. But but here's the thing I really worry about is what's going to happen the next cycle, which is we know about Mt. Gox, we know about Voyager, we know about Celsius, two of the ones that I used to talk about a lot on my channel. We know about FTX. When I got in 2017, I knew about Mt. Gox, but did I take my crypto off exchanges at a great amount? No, because I never lived through it. My worry is, and that's why I think you guys need to stick around, is when this thing starts to heat up, people are not going to remember these lessons, and they have to know these lessons because I believe the same stuff will repeat, and they'll keep going through it. So even though like you do everything right, you dollar cost average, you don't spend more than you can afford to lose, you pretend that everything's a scam, you think to yourself, okay, I got to take some profits along the way, and you do all those things, but then you have a bulk in an exchange that just goes under. And you're screwed until like it goes through chapter 11, and now all of a sudden you got to wait 2-3 years when you're in a bear market. So like all these lessons that we learn, that's the great thing about reading books. You can actually take a look at all the life lessons that are there, but it's also important you can find this in video form. And you guys have to tell them because I won't be there during the next bull market. I'll put out this video every week, which will just, sorry, I should say it like this. There's a video I did which I said all my screw ups. It's like it should have been a 10-hour video, but I condensed it in 20 minutes because I made so many screw ups. But I'll probably be playing that every couple of weeks on a loop so people can see it. But I'm going to need you guys to make sure that you are there to remind these newbies of all the mishappenings that can happen. So that's what I hear.
I actually got my ledger because you guys were talking about Mt. Gox one day, and you're talking about the importance of ledgers and everything, and I had never heard of it. So I Googled it, and I was like, this stuff is still going on? And that's actually the reasons some of the earlier videos I did, and I actually talked about it. I'm like, I didn't want that to happen to me. Like Ben, or I think it was either you or Ben said, those, they quoted that those who do not read history or fail to repeat it kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, I don't want all my stuff stuck on an exchange when it goes under, and then I have to spend the next 3 years going like, oh, look at my millions of dollars that are locked up right now that, what was worth pennies is now worth so much more, like I didn't want that to happen to me. So I went out and bought a ledger, and I thank God every day that I did, because I have all of my stuff here, and so many people were not that fortunate, like it's horrible.
See, I got in so early, like in 2013 was when I started getting my first crypto. I got in so early that there wasn't even really an option to like keep it on an exchange. So like I mined a lot of my coins, and so I had like the actual like core wallets on my computer on my hard drive. So I've always held all my coins because of that essentially. And but yeah, obviously the scams come in and exchanges getting hacked or going bankrupt or whatever, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is a smart way to do it. But I have my hardware wallets now as well, Ledger and Trezor.
I do have one serious question for you though, Rob. How do you get such a good green screen with a dog in the background? How is it like a special MIT one or?
Yeah, you have to like. If you go to a website called Fiverr, they have what's called dynamic green screens. It should be called tenor because you have to pay $10 for that. And once you do that, you get like the fans will move, and then the drapes will actually sway with the wind, and then these fake ass dogs will come in. So yeah, it's you got to pay a little bit extra.
There's always, like the occasional person you'll see walking in the background doing something occasionally as well. Like you must have paid a pretty penny for that. So
it's a bundle pack. It's a bundle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just like it constantly just update it for you for different scenarios.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. I'll have to order one of those.
I just want to give Rob props. He's one of the few that when he does get it wrong, he's humble enough to say, "Hey, I got it wrong." Imagine that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't know what it is with male egos, but he's one of the few. So kudos to you, sir.
It's because well, it's just like this is what it is. In the military, if you don't say you're wrong quick, then you're going to put yourself and the other soldiers at risk. So if you fuck up, you better say it fast so things don't go downhill. Yeah. So that's just how I've always been.
Well, we appreciate we appreciate you coming on, and we just appreciate everything you do for the community. Like, I know you probably haven't seen it, but this is our 11th episode, and we constantly talking about like quoting you, quoting James, Ben, talking about how, like you guys are the ones who got us into it, and how you guys are the ones who will come out and say like, hey, I messed up. That, like with a prime example with you with Alex and, the Celsius stuff, you owned that right away. Like you came out and did those videos and were like, hey, get your stuff off right now. I don't know what's going on, but something makes me uncomfortable. I'm taking my stuff off. You guys need to do that too. And you just owned it. You're like, I know I've had them on, but you know what I mean? Like something's not right. And, like there's not a lot of people who would bite the bullet and just, fall on the sword and say, hey, I messed up. This is what's going on, and to a total transparency. So the props to you. I mean, like in all honesty, and I know there's a ton of people who would wish to tell you that how much you've helped them and changed their lives, but so I'm trying hopefully that they're speaking through all of us right now.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think there's equally enough people like, I hate that guy because he talked about Voyager for so long, and I'm like, yeah. Look, the only reason that I knew about Voyager was because they were a publicly filed company. Once I saw that they did a $630 million uncollateralized loan, I was like, you can't do that. You can't do an uncollateralized loan. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. And I was like, take the money out. 2 weeks later, gone.
Yeah. And I didn't have any money on Voyager, but I had bought stock because they were a publicly traded company, and so those shares are not worth anything now. But you live and you learn.
Yeah, exactly.
I helped my father-in-law get his coins back. He's got about 20,000 stable coins on Celsius still, so I got to research. I'm not sure what the latest is there, but
I don't know. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things going on with Celsius. If you want to find anything that's going on, there's two, Aaron Bennett and of course Simon Dixon. You watch those two guys. And then of course Cam Cruz over on Celsius, got a great channel too.
Celsius, that's
I like
funny.
that.
I haven't heard of that. Yeah, I'll have to go look him up.
Yeah,
I watch a lot of Aaron Bennett's videos, and I watch a lot of Simon's videos on it. And I know it's amazing how articulate and how smart Simon is. Like, that guy is just amazing. And the fact that he's done so much for the community. I think didn't he spend like several $100,000 trying to set stuff up to help, like people with the community and who are affected by this. Like, just an amazing human being to do that. It's pretty cool. So I think it's one of the cool things about the crypto industry. We all come together and we're like-minded, and you can see kind of what human behavior could be, like the intertwining and working together. But, it's just everyone's so divided. But crypto, you can kind of see that everyone's together on that. So that's kind of cool.
But does Simon have a view like I have?
I don't think so.
He doesn't have a fancy pool like that. We know that for sure.
Whoa, boy.
Beardy couldn't even go to Fiverr. He went to Oner to get his green screen.
Gunner.
Well, you know what?
Center.
You should be thankful.
Like, hey, give me a green screen, but don't make it too nice.
He actually was going to film in a Speedo in that earlier. He was telling us he was going to set up on the balcony rail and then have it set down. He was going to be sitting there drinking a beer, but we
I think
talked
it's
him out of it.
30. To be
Well, I
honest.
mean, that actually does sound pretty palatable. I mean, come on.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Rob, for coming on. We appreciate your time, and this was an awesome chat. Hopefully, we can reconnect at a later time in the future when maybe things are a little bit more exciting in the cryptoverse, and catch up and see how things are holding up at that time.
Sounds good. All right, gents. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you very much, Rob.